Alright, so today we'll be talking about the nitrogen cycle. What is the nitrogen cycle? It is the process of nitrogen moving through the earth. The three main spheres that revolve around the nitrogen cycle are atmosphere, geosphere, and biosphere. And the nitrogen moves in 5 stages between the 3 spheres. This is a diagram of the nitrogen cycle and how it moves throughout the earth. Hopefully the next time you see this, you'll understand it a little bit better. The first stage out of the 5 stages of the nitrogen cycle would be nitrogen fixation. This is where nitrogen from the atmosphere goes to the soil. Before it is available for the plants to use the nitrogen, it must go through a process called fixation, and this can happen through multiple ways. Whether it's energy from lightning, which produces nitrogen oxide and nitrogen dioxide, or it's bacteria in the soils that transform the nitrogen, where plants are able to use. Mineralization takes place in the soil as well, and this is another way for plants to get nitrogen. Through decomposing plants or animals, nitrogen is being converted to a form that can be used by plants. Nitrogen fixation transforms nitrogen where plants are able to use, but not all plants are able to use the transformed nitrogen in nitrogen fixation. So that is where mineralization takes place. And then there's nitrification. This also occurs in soils. Nitrification is important to the plants as this creates an extra stash of nitrogen that can be absorbed by the plants through their root systems. And nitrification takes the ammonia created in mineralization and it transforms the ammonia to nitrate, nitrite to nitrate. Immobilization is also known as the reverse stage because microorganisms in the soil take up the nitrogen, where now the nitrogen is no longer available to the plants. But immobilization overall is important because it helps control and balance the amount of nitrogen in the soils by reducing the amount of nitrogen in the soil. And the last stage is detrification. This is where nitrogen circles back into the air through a process called detrification. Of course, it does its one last transformation into nitrogen, N2, and the cycle will be repeated back to the first stage of nitrogen fixation. And the nitrogen cycle. Humans have been known to increase the amount of nitrogen. How? By burning fossil fuels and using nitrogen-based fertilizers. In a terrestrial ecosystem, overuse of nitrogen can lead to imbalance in trees, which can change the biodiversity of forests. And when using fertilizers, there can be too much nitrogen in the soil, and the leftover nitrates can lead into waterways, which is not healthy for organisms to consume. The ocean and the nitrogen cycle. So the ocean is able to absorb the nitrogen from the air, and it goes through the same 5 stages stated previously, but in water. And transformations take place through microbes and other organisms, but it's practically the same thing, just in water. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you learned about the nitrogen cycle.